Okay, so the idea of monster gang warfare is cool in concept, but by God, is it terribly executed.
Ooh, that's a hot mug, guy.
Hey guys, episode 20 of Supernatural Season 9 review here, Bloodlines. This is the infamous episode, the lowest rated episode in Supernatural history, aside from the finale in some ways. This was the first time that they ever tried to branch off and make something else that was a brand of Supernatural but did not have the boys in it. And by God, was this a colossal failure. Not only did everything about this almost go wrong. Not only did this show the cracks, but also the mediocrity that was the CW, because my God, does this just scream every stereotype that the CW was known for. You've got terrible dramatic acting. You've got very pretty people doing terrible dramatic acting.
So much more.
You have plot lines that are so haphazardly thrown in that they don't really actually connect with anything, and you have terrible cameos and somewhat of tiny little branch of something to connect it to the overall zeitgeist. The idea is kind of interesting. The idea that there are werewolves, shapeshifters, djinn, vampires, us gangs fighting over Chicago. It's interesting. Oh, by the way, aside from the pilot, this is the only other episode in Supernatural history that was not shot in BC. The pilot obviously being shot in LA, and then this one was actually shot in Chicago. I remember getting goosebumps when I saw the waterline. I'm like, hey, that's from The Dark Knight. The Chicago to me is just is iconic with The Dark Knight, and because of how Christopher Nolan just photographed that entire city so well. But it starts off with this side note of this guy being brought into this whole world via his fiance for about, I don't know, 2 seconds, being killed by this random dude with claw arms who came out of this club, which, by the way, this club is run by douchebags, and he is brought into this world of monsters and gang warfare, all the while trying to figure out who killed his girlfriend. And you get brought into a few things, one being the werewolves are run by a complete and utter douchebag who is also a very bad actor.
So much more.
The shifters, who they don't even explain it, they just apparently don't have to change skin. Huge break in the canon, and I can see why this might have pissed people off, because this is a massive change in the lore. This is huge retcon, because they don't explain how they don't have to shed skin. They can just do it. Is it a cool thing when he changes his hair? Sure. Does it immediately break the lore when you start seeing it happen later on in the episode? And it makes shifters supremely overpowered. The main guy, he's okay. The dude who you're following throughout this, the human vessel of it, even if there is this very terribly haphazardly thrown in line of his dad apparently not being dead, apparently his quest to figure out what's going on and kind of teaming up with the Dean and the boys is, yeah, you also have the Romeo and Juliet, the shapeshifter, and the werewolves. The guy who looks like Archie, I swear to God, I thought it was Archie. I thought it was DJ, what's his name? But it's not. It's some other dude. I thought it was the guy who played Archie from Riverdale. He's part of this, and he's actually probably one of the better actors in this. There's this obviously can't have happen relationship between the two, and it's pretty standard. But it's later on when the boys go into the caverns to go after the human villain thing that's been killing the monster, who's a terrible actor, like very poorly put together, so fucking corny. By the way, did I mention this episode's written by Andrew Dabb? He somehow gets thrown to the ground, and then we cut to him in chains and everything. The pacing in this episode goes from being okay to outright dog shit for a huge plot convenience. The best part is when our main hero guy, human guy, I'm not going to mention any of the names because it's not important, he blows the terrible human killer person guy away. That's the best part of this whole fucking episode. And while this might have been an interesting thing, hell, this could have been a villain season idea, maybe. Just condensing it down to something really core, kind of like season 3. Season 3 is purely about Dean trying to figure out a way to not have to go to hell. This could have been a season idea, but they needed to have like the big be-all end-all. It's funny because I say that you never really felt the stakes, but the idea of fighting over a town, a city, for like against different gangs. That could have been, I don't know, like a 10 episode idea, maybe not a 23 episode idea, because we're seeing that being just dragged out with Supernatural, but that could have been something. But overall, you don't care about much of the cast. The acting is atrocious. Well, that doesn't help that the writing is also atrocious for a lot of it. And it did not have any hook into you to want you to continue it. Because again, there is an interesting idea in this episode, but it is so poorly executed that you just have no desire to want to stay here. You have no one pulling you in except for not Archie, and that's it. Is Bloodlines the worst episode in Supernatural history? No, it's not. But it is definitely one of the worst spin-off ideas I've ever seen. It was really trying to tie into the originals and Vampire Diaries and all that stuff, and it just didn't work because people weren't watching Supernatural for this kind of shit. They were watching it for Sam and Dean, and they found that out the hard way. So in the end, I'm going to give Bloodlines a 2 out of 7. There we go. That's it. We finally have come to this episode, the notorious episode in Supernatural history. But now let's see what you guys had to say.
Bloodlines is a concept I love on paper, but the execution felt like some kind of same kind of cheesiness you get from other CWs at the time, very much so. I actually think it's a good idea to have monster families being at war with each other in a contained setting in the supernatural world. The only problem is how long you can spend your disbelief. Monsters are unseen in the public eye. Exactly. I also love that the threat in the episode happens to be a hunter opposed to a monster from the Supernatural's pilot episode, even though the hunter looks like someone ordered from a cosplay of Chronicles of Riddick. It's also, well, also remember he moves super fast. Like they do that. They clearly show that with how the girlfriend gets killed. It's also crazy to think that it's near the end of season 9 that we finally get a Buffy the Vampire Slayer reference in this show. That is actually kind of nuts. It's also very interesting how they handle monsters in the show opposed to how they normally are handled in Supernatural. For example, shapeshifters don't shed their skin. Yeah. All the characters of the spinoff are likable. I don't know about that. But they're not quite as lasting as the main characters in Supernatural. Ennis getting a phone call from his dad was still alive, and we get a watered-down version of Sam and Dean. Yes, exactly. I also find it funny that the spinoff, they somehow bring up Castiel, found a lead on Metatron, and they tell Ennis they'll call other hunters to handle the Godfather with Fangs situation. Even though this is the lowest rated episode, my least favorite episode of Supernatural will always be a two-way tie from Ask Jeeves and Halt and Catch Fire. Oh, those are both in next season. Great. I'm one of those rare people who actually liked this episode and was pumped for a potential spinoff. I quite enjoyed the storyline and saw the potential in a spinoff, but I do get why people didn't like it and it wasn't picked up on like the Wayward Sisters episode. That one I never understand. I kind of do, mainly because CW was dying at that point. Also, I was excited that they cast what's his name from Vampire Diaries. Originally, he's also an Aussie, so I was a fan of his. Well, I mean, yeah, if you're part of that, like I know that people. I tried to watch some of the Vampire Diaries with my old roommate, and I couldn't stand it. But that's just me. I'm also like I'm a bit of a hypocrite. I feel like I'm watching Supernatural. Either way, each of their own. Dean was right that this episode is the Godfather with Fangs concept for the spinoff. It's interesting, but I'm not surprised it didn't get picked up once the episode shows that sometimes humans are the real monsters. I liked the characters David and Ennis. I understood why Violet didn't tell David the truth about her and about what his brother forced to break her to break up. The actor who plays Sal in the series is from Pretty Little Liars. To me, Wayward Sisters was a much better spinoff. It had characters you already knew and cared about, and would have made more sense. Yes, that is a good reason as to why as well. But like I said, CW was tanking at that point. They were just killing off everything. The fact that you got I think the other one that Jensen tried is purely because he was pushing it. The one reason that this didn't work is it's too similar to the originals. The idea I don't think was a good idea for the series. Yeah, it could have been, but it just didn't work in this setting. Bloodlines is basically the originals, but before the show was a thing. I think it's an interesting concept, but I do not think that it fits within the Supernatural world. Wayward Sisters was a much better spinoff, and I'm disappointed that it didn't go anywhere. In that spinoff, we'd have had previously established characters. We love doing their own side quests outside the brothers' drama, maybe backing them up. So They're so often mentioned in the main storyline, but we never get to see it. Would have loved to see Jodie actually put on an APB on Lucifer. I think that would have been a funny... I think that's part of the reason why Bloodlines failed. They introduced completely new characters that the fandom didn't really care about. Yeah, that's a good reason as well. It was just too much of a ripping the Band-Aid off. And as we've seen in past, Supernatural fandom can be pretty about when it comes to characters and whatnot. First, the good. I actually do like the concept of monsters running criminal organizations. I like seeing more monsters more organized into groups or communities. It helps flesh them out from mindless killers. Reminds me of the show Grimm. I heard Grimm was good. I just never got into it. Another plus is Sam is shown to be competent and gets a little more focus, which is a rarity. Now, the bad. This was aired way too late in the season. Maybe if the season was placed more well... Maybe if it was more well placed, it wouldn't have been an issue, and we could have had 4 episodes to wrap up the main plot. Now it was a good filler, like it was a previous episode that could have been forgiven. What made the writers think that we would actually watch a Supernatural episode without the brothers in it? If there was a character we'd love, I'd understand, but not new ones. Also very good point. It's just way too much before the brothers come in. It is so clearly like not their show, and you're kind of like, what the hell am I watching for the first while? Especially for those who didn't know it was a spinoff idea like me. The main characters aren't interesting or even original. NS is a watered-down version of Sam's backstory. Yep. The Shifter guy is similar to Dean. Yes. And those two were supposed to be the main characters that the show had been greenlit. Problem was, I felt no chemistry between them and nothing conflicting like Crowley and Dean. The Ghostfacers felt more real, and I hate those guys. While the CW never succeeded in a Supernatural spinoff, they ironically were able to succeed in the Arrowverse. While Supernatural Season 9 was airing, Arrow Season 2 aired, and it was in that season they started setting up the Arrowverse, having Barry Allen in 2 episodes, and then he'd have his own show. Oh, yeah, that's right. I thought The Flash came before Green Arrow, but it actually does make sense now. I've got to see the 2 episodes fleshing out Barry and also showing the relationship with the main character, Oliver Queen. It was a perfect dynamic from the start, and one of the things that fans look forward to with the crossovers. So many Bloodlines would have worked if maybe it had been 2 episodes. I can just actually say personally, I know about the absolute headache that it was to organized the crossovers for the entire Arrowverse. Like, very big credit to the production teams on those shows, because it sounds like it would have been a nightmare. Bloodline, aka the first and worst spin-off idea. What if DC Fables with none of the interesting character designs or creativity in general? Guys, Grimm already beat you to it. I just assumed the script was Metatron getting drunk out of his mind, but not drunk enough, and instantly scrapped it when he sobered up after seeing the dull mess he made. Yes, if you ever wanted a really good version, like, that's not books, but he mentions it right there, Fables. Bill Willingham's works are fantastic. The Wolf Among Us was such a good introduction for me that I've been reading the series ever since. I still haven't finished it, but I'm getting close.
All right, guys, that's it. We are now 3 episodes away from finishing season 9. We have King of the Damned up next, so make sure to give me your guys' thoughts about that episode in the comments below, and I'll read those off. But as always, if you guys like this video, please leave a like, and if you're interested in more, subscribe. Link to our Discord is in the description below, so check that out. Curious to see how I feel about these last 3 episodes, because to be honest, the overall number ranking for season 9 is not looking too good, so we'll see how it goes. But hey, could have 3 bangers in a row. We'll see. Anyways, that's all from me, guys. See you next time.